This is not your grandmother's market. Hey everybody, welcome to another Northern Kentucky, now Cincinnati Regional Market Moment. We're so glad you're here. Today we are joined by the fabulous Miss Tenia from over on the Ohio side. And you came with some data to share. We've got, of course, Joe here, our lender expert in residence, and we just want to talk about the market. And guys, we were talking before we started recording, it's a much different market than what we all got into.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is.
So what does that mean for potential buyers on the lending side, Joe? What are you seeing that's so vastly different?
Well, on the lending side, we've seen a drastic increase in home values and prices that sellers are asking for. So you are needing to get pre-approved for as much as possible in order to get into the house that you want. We were talking a little bit ago about how, especially with first-time home buyers, there's not nearly as much under 2,000 as there was, or 200,000 as there was, even 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. So that definitely plays an impact on things. Interest rates are a little bit higher than they were 2 years ago. As far as an average goes for the past 50 years, I don't think they're too drastic, but definitely higher than 20 and 21, which probably won't happen again for another 30 years. If you're waiting for 20 and 21 rates, you're in for the long haul.
Yeah, don't hold your breath.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's kind of what we're seeing. A lot more FHA, USDA programs.
Mm-hmm. So what does that mean for buyers in the Cincinnati metro area?
So for buyers in Cincinnati, it means having a lot of patience. You're not going to find the home that you want on your first day out, probably not your first week, maybe not even your first month. Just being patient. We were talking about the data a little bit earlier. And just year to date, so from January to April versus last year, we had about 9,000 listings that sold. This year, we've only had 2,700 year to date. So there's a lot less inventory. And like Joe said, the average price is up a little bit. So it's going to take a lot of patience and dedication on, that buyer side to ultimately get into the home that you want.
But with that though, you said 9,000 listings that had sold.
Correct.
Versus 2,700. But that's not just the homes are sitting.
Right.
You've had a lot fewer listings as well.
Right. So so inventory is low. Lot less sellers are putting their home up for market. People are just staying in their homes longer. So again, we have a lot less inventory for potential buyers to choose from.
Right. And Joe, what is the reasoning behind that, where people are just staying in their homes longer? They're looking at the market saying, I don't need to sell, I don't want to sell, I'm not selling right now unless I have to because of a job change, I have to because of a financial situation, family, divorce, new baby, unless it's a necessity. Versus a few years ago when people were like, let's go buy a house because we can.
Right. Well, when you have lower interest rates, you can afford more house. So when you have a higher interest rate, it's really hard, especially to go from 5, 4, sometimes 3 and under 2, not under 2, in some instances, to mid-7s.
Yeah.
Right? So people are outgrowing their homes and staying in, waiting for lower interest rates. Now, people have record amount of equity right now. Now, people also have record amount of credit card debt as well, but people have so much equity in their homes that I'm almost expecting for the wave to crash at some point. You have so much equity in your house that you just can't hold on any longer. You've got another kid on the way, and you've already got 2 kids in 1 bedroom, right? There's only so many bunk beds you can buy, right? So, I'm expecting for the wave to crash here at some point, and for people to really kind of liquidate their home and go into the next one using some of that equity. So,
or look to how can we renovate, how can we add on.
Absolutely.
There's definitely some of that. Are you seeing that too?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. People are finishing their basements and adding additional rooms to make sure that the home that they have, they can stay there a little bit longer.
Absolutely. I mean, that is a legitimate thing for my family personally. Having 4 kids, we've talked about, we maybe could go and get a bigger home, a little bit more space, because the kids are sharing rooms, and that means that I have an office, all that sort of stuff. But for us to sell our home, we would get a real great price, and we'd walk away with $150,000 in cash. But even if we put all that $150,000 in cash into our next home to buy even the same size home, just in a different area, essentially, we would be spending more. Our mortgage payment would actually be higher, and we're not moving up at all. It would be a lateral move. So that doesn't make sense for a lot of people. Now that's the down depressing side if you're a buyer, because it means the market is harder. As you said, you got to be patient. But there is an upside. We got to find the silver lining here.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So what is the upside from your perspective?
The upside from my perspective has everything to do with people's equity. I think when
I didn't get that.
things
Surrey did not understand.
No, and she's not seen the silver lining yet. That's okay. When rates kind of even out and we end up seeing more buyers going into the market, you'll see people be able to utilize their equity, and when they can afford more home, they'll end up being able to move up some. It does take longer than it used to. I think the average people, first-time home buyers usually stay in that first home for, I think the average is 7 years. Maybe it's going to be closer to 9 or 10 at this point.
So having a little bit longer term perspective. When you buy that home.
Well, and you've got longer for that home to appreciate and for you to pay down on your mortgage, and so those extra couple of years add to your equity as well, right?
From your perspective?
I think we talked about it a little bit earlier before we got on camera, and that's thinking about it as a long-term investment and not so much short-term. So, if the average person is staying in their home 7 years, think about, like you said, 10 to 15 years from now, and in the home that you're thinking about purchasing, get everything that you need out of it, and just make sure that it's going to work for you and your family long term.
Absolutely, and finding those ways that you can make enhancements as you can, and I mean, some of it is a trade-off. Maybe I don't go get my new iPhone this year, but I'm gonna redo my deck. I know that's probably not a dollar for dollar comparison, but we're always making those decisions, and when money is tighter, sometimes we have to think, if we're thinking that long-term perspective, what's going to bring me the greatest return on my investment? I love my iPhone, but I can probably get 3 years out of it instead of 2 or 4. Whereas making that home improvement is going to increase my equity a little bit more. It's going to increase my enjoyment of the property as well.
You know what might be more similar to a dollar for dollar comparison? Is people buying brand new cars.
You can almost spend as much on a car as you can on a house.
The amount of $700, $800, $900 car payments that I see that completely obliterate any chance of affording a home. Terrible.
Yeah. And again, we need vehicles.
Sure.
But do you need that new Mercedes, that new Honda, or could you get maybe the used one that has 40,000 miles on it? These are all personal choices. And again, having a financial expert, having a real estate expert that can help you evaluate what are the things that are most important to you, very important. So we're here for you. Tenia, how can they reach you if they're in Ohio?
You can reach out to me via any of my social media platforms. It's just my name, Tenia Jones. You can reach me on my cell phone, 513-788-1219.
And Joe?
Guys, I'm at the Preferred Rate branch in Greendale if you feel like stopping by. But feel free to just give me a call or a text at 513-907-2530.
And I'm 859-962-7978. We'll talk to you again soon.